What's going on? It's your boy Sermon at Sermon's Domain on Twitter. Atlanta season 1 is almost to an end. We're on episode 9 that aired last night. It's titled Juneteenth. The one thing that I'm starting to realize about Atlanta, at least in season 1, it could change with season 2, is that there is a lot of disjointed storytelling going on. For instance, last week, we had Paperboy in the club, and then he had to strong arm the promoter to get his money, and now he's wanted for questioning. Is that going to pop up in this episode? No, it's not. This episode is focused on Earnest and Vanessa. So you got that disjointed storytelling going on, and I'm just wondering, like, some of these scenarios, they can obviously wait. It feels like this would have been addressed more urgently than anything else. But in this episode, we do kind of have a revisit. This is an episode centered around Vanessa trying to get a job because she got fired back in, I want to say, episode 6. She got fired for admitting that she was smoking weed, which it wasn't a big deal, but the fact that she admitted it is why she got the boot. So here they are trying to pretend that they're husband and wife. Vanessa and Earnest are pretending that they're a married couple, and they go to this Juneteenth party. If you don't know what Juneteenth is, it's the day that the slaves were freed. Everything about the vibe just feels immediately bad. You have Monique, who's throwing the party, greets them, and then her husband, Craig, shows up. He's a white man who has a job in healthcare, and he specializes in African American studies. If it sounds weird, it's definitely weird. He produces some of the best moments of the episode, but he's also a very cringeworthy character. At one point, he's telling Earnest that he needs to go back to Africa and, see his roots, and because it's his motherland. And another time, he's like, you got to hear me with this slam poem. And so he goes and does this poem about Jim Crows, and it's in front of a room full of black people. So I'm sitting there, like, looking at their faces, and nobody is, like, feeling out of place. It doesn't feel like it's awkward. The only person who feels awkward in the whole situation is Earnest. But everybody else is just like, standard looking at him doing it, and it's a weird, but I think it speaks to how the entire party is. A lot of it is phony. A lot of these people are there for the same reasons that Vanessa's there. They want a job, they want acceptance, and they have to put on a face that they might not want to. And I think that's what Vanessa and Earnest end up doing partway through the episode. They argue a little bit, and then they have to put on this front like they're a married couple, and like they're happy, and like they're interested in what everybody has to say. They talk to a lady who works in theater, and she's talking about her idea of having, it's like a robbery in Hurricane Katrina with like a pregnant woman. It's like a weird idea, and I'm just going, this is just not, I'm just amazed, kind of speechless. I'm like, it's funny, but I'm like, this is such an awkward situation. Besides Vanessa trying to land this job, we see that the relationship between her and Earnest has gotten worse since we last seen them together. This episode really showed the effects of it. Like, they don't want to be around each other at all. However, when you have this kind of scenario, something is going to happen. So I was expecting at some point the outcome of the episode. So there's a moment where the two are talking to 3 women about, all just different type of subjects. There's a moment during this conversation where Earnest really praises Vanessa highly, and there's some truth to his words, but at the same time, he kind of goes too far. He says, Van does everything. She works, she raises our child, she's smarter than me, better than me. I mean, that's why I married her. Gun to my head, I don't think I can even look at another woman. And that last line, the gun to my head, I can't even look at another woman, that's the whole reason why it didn't feel authentic. Because earlier in the episode, Vanessa had to pick up Earnest from the bartender from the last episode, like her house. They were, sleeping together and all that. So that's why it didn't feel authentic, and she runs off, but she gets in her feelings. And so I know where it's going from here. At some point, they're going to kind of, kiss or make up, or Vanessa's going to be like, I want you in my life, we should be together, something like that. Ultimately, they end up making out at the end in the car. They pull over. And this is after Earnest blows up on Monique and Craig. Like, at this point, he's had it because he gets outed as Paperboy's manager. He was trying to hide that just because it's not really, like, the environment to talk about that. But then Craig's like, yeah, that's where I know you from. That's where I seen your face. And Monique is she's not tolerant of rap at all. She makes these offhanded comments about how everybody has that trifling cousin in their family or the trifling thug. And then that sets him off. He's like, this is dumb. This whole party's stupid. And then they just walk out. And then they're driving home. He says he's going to apologize. But she just says, pull over. They make out. End of episode. I don't really feel like we're going to see the aftermath of what happens because of the kiss. And maybe it means nothing. Maybe it was just that one time thing. But I don't anticipate the next episode, which is the season finale, to kind of highlight any of that. In fact, next week, the synopsis of it, and I love these synopsises because they're just so, they're one sentence, and they're just like, they set the tone for what the episode is, but they don't give you no further insight. So the synopsis for the season finale is, Ernest loses his jacket at a party. That sounds like a very basic plot, but you know Atlanta's going to flip it, and it's going to be a very interesting episode. I'm most interested to see how this actually feels like a season finale. Like, does it actually feel like a season finale, or is it just going to be an episode where it ends and it's like, okay, now we got to wait until season 2? Or is there going to be like that cliffhanger that a lot of seasons end up doing? I feel like it's repetitive to say that this episode, Juneteenth, was another great one, but it was. There were so many gems this time around. I think the concept of having to go to a party and act like something you're not, pretend to be somebody you're not with somebody you're not with, is a concept that has been played in TV for many years. But I think Atlanta gives it its own identity. So it doesn't feel like a stale idea ever. So those are my thoughts on Atlanta's Juneteenth episode. Episode 9. We're 1 week away from the season finale. Let me know what you think about this episode in the comment section below. And then like the video, subscribe to the channel if you're not already, share the video. Follow me on Twitter at SermonsDomain. And as always, thank you for your time. I appreciate you for watching. And until next time, peace.